Hello viewers, you are watching the Doordarshan Kendra Kohima. Welcome to this panel discussion on journalism and its ethics. Now journalism, in very simple terms, is the research and dissemination of news to the public. To understand more about what journalism is and its ethics, particularly with regard to the state of Nagaland, in this episode I'm joined by three senior journalists. We have Mr. Okenjit Sandham, we have Mr. Kopelo Krome, and we have Mr. H. Chishi, who is also the president of the Nagaland Press Association. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me in this discussion. Now, journalism, like I was telling our viewers, this may seem like a very vast and theoretical topic, but I hope that our viewers will benefit from the discussions that we will have. And to begin with, I'd like to come to you, Mr. Oken. If you could tell us, what makes journalism different from other forms of communication?
Yeah, journalism is such that it is basically to disseminate the news. So the first thing is we basically have to think about, suppose if some incident happened, the first information is that people want to know what happened. So you have to give the report, then how happened, then the when happened, all these things. So basically the news in the journalism is such that when anything happens, the first thing is that we have to give the information what had happened in that. This is the simple thing.
Okay. Yeah. Coming to you, Mr. Kopelo, if you could tell us who can be a journalist now that he has taught us what journalism is. If you could tell us what, who can be a journalist, and do you differentiate journalists and reporters?
In this connection, frankly, I myself was not trained as a journalist. It's just what you call practical. I started writing, then that is how I was called to join the media, print media. That way only I joined. So I may not be the right person to say, but still, then, of course, as of now, we have so many scopes where you can go for your degree, masters, whatever in journalism,
right.
Mass comm. Earlier there was, during our time, in fact, maybe we were lucky, we just got into it, or maybe we were also a little behind, because we never had that opportunity to study what journalism actually is. We don't know what was news. I mean, newspaper is there as such, but then north, east, west, south. See how news came about: north, east, west, south, and papers. So that way. It was practical thing for us. So journalism as such, I mean, at least we'll discuss again, but still then, I mean, I don't think there's any hard and fast rule for anyone to become a journalist. Because, I mean, like I said, how we started. And in fact, luckily, and we are privileged as of now, because we have youngsters who are into mass comm, who have gotten their degrees, masters in communication. That way, I mean, they are more professional that way.
Right.
But the thing is, our time was so practical. These days, it's not that I'm demeaning, but then practicality may be a little behind for the matter. But we need to have a balance. That's all.
Well, I can also relate with you, when you say that you did not study mass comm. I personally studied masters in political science, but I happened to join journalism as well, pursue the profession. Now, there are certain ethics that binds us, especially when it comes to disseminating information. So I'm coming to you, Sir Chishi, if you could tell us, what are some of these ethics that binds, in a way, regulates journalists and the journalism?
I think there are lots. If you wanted to mention, and some are debatable also, some are controversy. It will end in a controversy debate also. But I think the truth, we have to reveal the truth, the fact. That is the main basic. Accountability. Secondly, transparency should be there. The truth, transparency, and then we should not indulge in yellow journalism. Humanity should be there. Those are the basic ethics
for our
of
viewers,
the journalism.
For our viewers, can you tell us, can you explain what is this yellow journalism that you are referring to?
Those who, yellow journalism means that you're not telling the fact, you're working with your own interest for certain purpose, maybe with an ulterior motive to fool the people, you're not divulging the fact of the issue. Yeah. You wanted to please maybe your master, maybe you wanted to please someone. Yeah.
So, Akana, would you like to add to that,
Yeah, this the ethics of journalism. See, when we report certain incident, that there are certain areas where we cannot give description of the incident. Like supposing one person is shot dead, that you give it first information, that is the information that he was shot dead, what time, who shot, how it happened, this can come later on. But when you give descriptions of the tribe and even the colors of the paint and the village, this has violate of the ethics of journalism, because it will create unnecessary chaos and can only invite. So we press people actually when we report, this is very important, one thing, and ethics is not law actually. There is no law. Ethics is something you have to have the principles of journalism. It's very, very important for us.
I think a very valid point that you have mentioned. It's not a law, but ethics needs to be followed. Mr. Kopelo, in this regard, how do you see the media and the press scenario here in Nagaland?
Overall, there's been drastic change in a way. Like it was not a matter of slow and steady, but because of social media thing, probably. All of a sudden we have jumped from 5% to maybe 30 or 40, 50%. We have jumped. 100% not yet, still then. But still then, our how we have functioned earlier is so different from how things have been functioning now. Because with the three of us, in a way, we struggled hand to mouth type. That way, that was how we started. Because you have to be in the chair, you have to be in the in the chair and then do all those works. Plus, you have to be there in the spot for any sort of what you call coverage of the program or any incident, any good or bad, whatsoever what you call stories. But as of now, we can just sit and then get news through the media, social media. Not that I'm against social media. We need it. They are also doing a tremendous work for us, whoever are in the media. I mean, print or whatever. But still, then, the thing is, our viewers. I mean, not our viewers. I mean, what you call whosoever are concerned with news are so much into social media that we tend to forget which one is fact. See, that is where we are missing out. And as of now, even our friends who are struggling are also getting a little bit what you call disappointed in a way. But then, just because of one or two disappointment will not stop the show. Journalists, the ethics will go on. Because what is fact, that is where everyone fights for. If you don't give us what you call, you don't fact check, then don't give us news. That is, I mean, how things happen. But again, here, let me add something. Whenever you want facts from any concerned authority, they try to shy away. They may not respond. But again, we have to do what we are supposed to be doing, running behind time. So our reporters, our correspondents, they have done it, they have written it. Then what happens is they are called for explanation or they are made to clarify. I mean, that's something very sad, where we are expected to give the facts. And when we give the facts, we are being challenged again. See, that happens time to time.
Right.
So, I mean, it is disappointing, but then the facts will remain facts. So, I'm sure our media tribe, whoever are for facts, will still grow instead of just being bought. Now, I'm giving you this much, you say this, and you write this, you do that. I don't think our media fraternity will be that. I mean, easily succumbed to those type of pressures.
Right.
So I'm sure. I'm very optimistic that way.
So,
Thank you.
Mr. Chishi, in this connection, dragging the question, the answer that he has just mentioned further, do you see a threat to the freedom of press here in Nagaland? You've also worked with national papers, so if you could give an analysis of how you see the situation.
The situation has drastically changed, of course. People have realized the importance of the press, the importance of the fourth pillar, the freedom of speech and expression, free media. No, people have been made to understand the importance of the fourth estate, and that's why I'm very happy, in fact. And a lot of young journalists have come up. They are doing an excellent job. I think one thing, when you talk about freedom of the press, we have to work within the parameter, which will include the ethics, which will have a mechanism which have been framed by the authorities. Maybe, what we call Press Council of India. From time to time, they used to lay down, they used to draft a mechanism to govern us. So if you work within the perimeter, I think that there is no threat. There will be no threat at all. Though there may be some, some few maybe from some quarters, but otherwise work within the perimeter. Yeah.
On that note, Mr. Oken, can you highlight, how dangerous can unethical reporting be?
Yeah, it's very dangerous. Freedom of the press is, to me, is, you see, look at our constitution, our Indian constitution. We have freedom of expression, but you will never find freedom of the press. So in fact, in the American Constitution, you have the freedom of the press. The article, this First Amendment of the American Constitution, it's clearly mentioned about it. We have freedom of the expression, but we don't have the freedom of the press. This is depending on how you interpret about it. But the press role cannot be taken as a freedom of the expression. Okay. So this is one area we have to know very carefully. Press Council of India is some kind of regulating body, something controlling the press. Whenever we have some problem, this is only platform where we are accused, we can just share there, and when due to our writing somebody is damaged, they can also come on that platform. So while writing, the reporters or whoever is filing the stories, they tend to put their opinions and their views. This is absolutely should not be there, because your job is to report what is happening on the ground. So when you tend to put about your ideas and opinions within the story, then it makes a lot of difference. Then it's completely something against the ethics of the journalism also. So I think freedom of the press is not there in our constitution. Our constitution is very clear, and as far as our opinions, views are concerned, when it comes to the professionalism in the journalism, this should be always be careful. We should not put into it.
Now, Nagaland itself is witnessing a lot of media houses that are now mushrooming in the state. Mr. Copello, in this regard, over the past years or the past few months, have you seen any kind of unethical reporting that you would also like to cite or make reference to?
Maybe in this regard, to cite references, I will not.
Okay.
Yeah, I will not, because it may tantamount to what we call being personal things. But then I think basically I have to say, youngsters who are there in the field, in the fourth estate, they are doing a good job. The only thing is how they are being mentored. Whether for reporting or writing some truth, they are being questioned. Say, otherwise, I think our reporters, correspondents, I think they are doing good. Actually, I will not say I have any thing against them. Nothing. No criticism as such. But the only criticism that can be given is, if at all they don't do their work accordingly, but sometimes maybe they have to even challenge their own masters. because this is what has happened. So like I mean, there are certain issues none of the time which may not be out in the what you call media. That is obviously not out in the media, but things happen. So that way, like our youngsters, sometimes they feel tight, chained in a way. Not fully chained, not fully tight, but still then there's a certain chain where they cannot move about. So like it will be very good upon our what you call media, what you call owners also. It's not that they are what you call pressuring this our reporters. I don't think so. But then the thing is, our boys and girls should be more upfront, more courageous. That is how our bosses, they themselves, the owners, they themselves will come to understand this is what is supposed to be done. So this is what our young boys and girls are doing. So that way, the owners will come to learn.
Right.
Otherwise, our owners themselves, I mean, dictating itself is nothing to do. I mean, that has nothing to do with ethics of journalism.
Right.
In addition to what my friend has said, because with the invasion of the social media, I think everyone is rushing for breaking news, hot news. So we in the print media should also have to pull up our socks, to meet that challenge posed by the social media. Because when we even in Nagaland, a lot of YouTubers have mushroomed. I think they maybe some of the YouTubers are doing better than so-called mainstream media.
Okay.
So in that case, I think we have to pull up our socks.
So there are also instances that content creators who are usually put out their contents on YouTube, they also tend to extract information from the newspapers or from other publications that have been published.
Yes.
Is this ethical, or how do you see it?
No, that is totally unethical. At least they have to give a credit to that particular mainstream newspaper or the media house which has already affiliated with the authorities. Affiliated or registered
Yeah, whatever.
with the authority. Without giving a credit, I think that is unethical. But as I have stated, some YouTubers are doing much better than mainstream media houses. Yeah.
That will be when it comes to ground reporting or
Yeah. Basically ground reporting, and then they also do some features, analytical stories, and then ground reporting is very important to build up our career, whereas also to attract more readers, viewers, and definitely some YouTubers have in India they have 2-3 millions of subscribers. So in that case, the mainstream media also have to pull up our socks. We have to be at the ground zero, at the ground. Immediately right after something happened. Yeah. Otherwise, mostly we tend to be armchair journalists. After the coming of the social media, immediately you click anywhere, you'll get information.
Let me also join here.
yes,
Like that was what I was stressing earlier. Well, likewise,
Right.
because of this social media thing, they have all the what you call facilities as of now. Whereas those days we never had any facility.
We
but
carry
still
that
yes,
portable typewriter,
typewriter.
and then eraser and
Yeah. Then you have to go to do what you call home, or sometimes even to some government office for phone, telephone thing there.
This,
See, this all was not. I mean, it was.
yeah, I
making
just want to add this only
Yeah.
this point. This social media, that is very important for us, especially who
Yes.
are in the print media, because it has given a lot of cue for us to get the news. So you need only one point to get the whole story. You just follow up. That is for you to inquire, contact people, and actually when you write a story, at least you need to contact 2-3 people at least
right.
to make the story perfect. Now what happened in the social media is you look that there is a lot of fake news. The fake news is really floating everywhere. even that the response
Exaggeration,
exaggeration
news,
and sensationalizing the news.
sensationalizing,
Yeah, then the
blown
you
out of proportion.
yes.
These things are there.
then it has created, because people are not willing to read newspaper, they want to read immediately what is happening. So these people, these are the social media people. They used to, you know, just keep a lot of newses, and suddenly something stories come in social media. It does not mean is a fact. It's a fake news also. So we have to cross check. So when we cross check the story, they started putting in circulating social media, happened to be not true. So many things happen. See, look at the October 31, 2019, when the ceasefire, talks to be concluded in Delhi.
Right.
You know what happened the same day? So many national televisions, they're streaming out the stories from Delhi that our flag has been agreed. The Naga flag has been agreed. Constitution has been agreed. It turned out to be that it is not agreed. So these stories are floating, we're writing, and by 7 o'clock in the evening, I stopped filing the stories. We have to wait the official statement from the Home Ministry. The Home Ministry said they have not come out any statement. They said the final statement will only be issued after consulting the 3 states and the stakeholders. See how the social media has created in such an important event on the day. So we have to be very careful. In spite of that, we still respect the social media. We get a lot of news from them, but we as a professional, we have to always cross check about it.
Tip off,
Right.
you know, sometimes we are tip off and then we do follow up.
Yes.
Yeah, through
Yeah,
social
yes.
media.
Yes.
Verification in this case will be very important
Yeah.
for
Very
important,
journalists to cross-check when
Yeah,
before
cross-check.
putting out the stories.
Yes.
Yes.
So, because 3 of you have been working in the field of journalism for a very, very long time, Mr. Okan, I'm coming to you. If you could tell us, you know, back then, what are the kind of challenges that you face, particularly because we are also in a conflict zone, in a disturbed area, tagged by the ministry. So, how has reporting been challenging for you over the past? And if you could also make a slight comparison with the present day.
It's a huge, because in the, I think my friend Kops, both he was 1 year senior to me. We were in journalism in the 85, 86. Then the 90s is a completely situation was really different because of the conflict in the state, our political issue. So we have to be in the jungle, we have to be everywhere, these people call of us. Then the reporting has to be very careful for us, because when you start reporting something slightly, you know, not coming in their line of something, then you'll be called off. Then something, when we write something more heavier on the stories of the other group, then the military will call up us again. So we are all tried from the group side, the Naga political group, so-called, what we call it, then the army also. Then even the civil society is very strong. They can even summon us. So many things happen. But the lesson we learned from that time is that is really we struggle, but we tried our best to balance the stories, to keep the correct stories of that. But somehow we survive. We survive. And that is how we made it as journalists today. But today's journalism is different. It's a very, I think, comparing with the past and now, is that today is very easier somehow, because information is everywhere in the fingertips.
Yeah, immediately,
immediately.
You know,
So it is not
informations
there.
are disseminated. Those days
Yeah.
we have only line.
Yeah, we have to go physically also.
Yeah.
Something.
So there was, to disseminate information the medium was only through print media.
Print media. Yes.
Then All India Radio, these are government-owned
Yes.
Yeah.
information tools.
So much of handicaps that
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
to,
But we should be happy today.
And then
We should
another
be
point
happy.
is people were
Yeah.
not much aware of the freedom of the press, free press, vibrant media. People were not aware of all those things. With the coming of social media, with the coming of new gadget technology, people have understood all
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Very interestingly, we 3 of us, I believe that each one of us had faced summoning. I went through the court like that. I think he also faced. I was also summoned 3-4 times. The question is that I had never appeared in the court because I said nothing is going this way. So, but we had to explain to the lawyers that you cannot try an editor on this kind of court, because we have to be tried in Press Council of India. Because there are a lot of things that even the lawyers, even the educated people are not knowing. press people in what way they are functioning and whether they can be tried, what are the sources. Even sometimes they will threaten that from where you got the news,
Right.
because our source cannot be,
No, the human
revealed. This kind of threats are there. So I think we stood for it, and I think still we are.
And the information that you have given us have been very informative. The last points that we discussed, particularly with regard to the advancements of, advancement of technology, the growth of new digital media. In this regard, you, Mr. Okun, you have mentioned about the three of you being summoned to the court. I can very much relate to this, although I was not summoned to the court because of some reportings that we do, civil societies, or there are some certain organizations that tend to threaten us. But I think the reason we are all here today as journalists is because of the ethics that have that we have followed. I believe our viewers today has also learned from that. While journalism is a very important mode of communication to get, to disseminate information, it is also very important for journalists and people disseminating this information to follow the ethics. Though very theoretical, we've had very senior journalists among us, and I hope this was a very informative and educative session for you. Thanks for joining us. I'm Madeline Ambrosia, signing off from DDK Kohima.